Sue.
Yes, I'm in the Redbridge area, a little noisy because there's building work going on, and this is just a problem. We've heard of inner city decay, but here in the suburbs we're seeing lots of scenes like this with buildings abandoned, stores made derelict. It's partly because there are more and more out-of-town shopping centres, and of course a lot more of us are using our cars. Many of the facilities we want, the leisure and the health, are now very centralised. Those are the sort of problems. It's a suburban decay. The report out today says something's got to be done. Well, with me is one of the authors of that report, Michael Gwilliam of the Civic Trust. What does have to be done?
Well, we have to look at ways in which we can work with the community to look at putting back together some of the community assets that an area like Ganshill had and is beginning to lose, so that we get the shopping facilities linked into perhaps some new housing, some new community facilities, and also to make the transport links work better to where people actually have jobs. All of those things are beginning to fall away.
But isn't that going to just cost a lot of money? We're talking about major redevelopment.
No, we're talking about small-scale changes at this stage. If we act now, then we can act before the problem gets too big, and we don't repeat the mistakes we made in the inner cities, where we waited until the problem got so big it got very difficult to resolve. It's a bit like an apple. If you act when there's just a few little brown spots, then it's very much easier to deal with it, and if you don't wait until it decays entirely. So this is the message about the suburbs. A few areas need action now to avoid bigger problems in the future.
But perhaps shouldn't we not put it back as it was? We should now adapt to the changing culture. We do all use our cars more, we do have big out-of-town shops. Perhaps that's the culture we should be adapting to.
Well, we most certainly just can't put back it as it was, as you say. The shops won't come back in the same way. But I think we could mix in housing, for example, for our older people who want houses close to shops, and there aren't the choices of houses for older people around, sheltered housing and so on in an area like this. They're all of one sort of housing. So that's the way we could bring other community facilities, some jobs back in using modern technology. A sort of office village could come in here using some of what was empty shops. We need to remix the area and create a new vitality for the 21st century.
Michael Gwilliam, thank you very much. Fighting against the noise here of the development work behind. And one of the thoughts is that it should be lottery money that goes into this, so something must be done before it's too late.
Sue, thanks very much indeed.
A new study suggests that children as young as 6 months old who spend time away from the home develop fewer allergies such as asthma, eczema and hay fever. The research claims that early exposure to infections means children build up better resistance. Karen Bowerman reports.
Most mothers send their children to nursery school for educational reasons, though it now seems toddlers may also benefit from better health as well. Research published in the medical journal The Lancet tomorrow suggests babies who go to nursery before they're 1 are less likely to develop allergies when they grow up. Yet the discovery is something some nursery teachers have been telling parents for a long time.
Sometimes they're a bit worried about what they'll catch by being in contact with so many other children, but we just try to reassure them and let them know that whatever they get now, they won't get later on, and it's better for them to catch it while they're younger.
Doctors believe that with today's smaller families and better standards of hygiene, youngsters are less likely to be exposed to infection at home, which means they don't build up resistance to disease or have conditions such as eczema. But experts say exposing youngsters to infection is only part of the solution when it comes to trying to prevent youngsters getting ill.
One of the things about your home environment, for instance, is that now we live in carpeted, heated housing, and that again increases house dust mite, which is known to exacerbate and perhaps trigger eczema.
The research relates only to very young children from small families. Those who have brothers and sisters aren't so much at risk because they tend to share their colds, coughs and illnesses with each other. Karen Bowerman, ITN.
Tony Blair's renewing his attack on the Scottish nationalists in a visit to Glasgow today. Mr Blair says independence for Scotland would lead to high taxes and job losses. The SNP accused the Prime Minister of a negative agenda as the parties square up for elections to the Scottish Parliament. Our Scotland political correspondent Harry Smith reports.
Opening the curtains on Labour's campaign, the Prime Minister and the Scottish Secretary left voters in no doubt about how they plan to fight for power in Scotland. The latest campaign poster is a direct attack on the nationalists and their plans for an independent Scotland.
The choice will be between those who promote a parliament that will advance both social justice and national identity, and those who practice the narrow politics of national identity above everything else. The election, therefore, will be a choice between the policy of devolution and the politics of divorce.
Alex Salmon, visiting a Glasgow play area threatened with closure, dismissed Labour's attack.
And people of Scotland know that Scotland is a rich country. What we also want to be is a rich society where vital projects such as this adventure playground, unique in Scotland, helping thousands of children in the city of Glasgow, are not threatened with closure.
Paddy Ashdown, jumping in at the deep end to launch his party's conference in Aberdeen, poured scorn on them both.
We stand for investment in education, investment in health, raising the standard in Scotland. If that's what you want, there's only one way to get it, and that's vote Liberal Democrat.
And this is just the beginning. There's still 90 days to go before voting. These historic first elections for the new Scottish Parliament promise to be not just a test of the party's policies, but also their stamina. Harry Smith, ITN, Glasgow.
Two brothers of a